What I'm about to share with you is a true story from my life. See, growing up, I was extremely skinny as a child, like skinny. In Guyana, they call it maga. And it was always something I was insecure about. Now, it didn't stop me from enjoying my life. I was a pretty happy kid, played sports, had friends. It was fine. But in growing up in a place like Guyana, anything that stands out about you physically, you're going to be clowned for it. So if you're fat, they can call you fat girl. If you're skinny, they can call you skinny. If you got a big nose, they'll call you big. They'll call you big nose. So my nickname in Guyana was Fine Man. It was Gandhi. That was just my reality growing up. As I got older, I noticed all my friends, they were skinny too, but not as skinny as me. But as they got older, they were putting on size. Like they were getting bigger, they were putting on some muscle, and I was still the same. I was still a broomstick. So then I was like, okay, I have to do something. So one summer, I spent every single day. I didn't have weights. Like we had random pieces of wood around the house and they were heavy. So I would use that as my bar and I would do curls. I would do push-ups. I would do squats. I bought a 5-pound tub of a weight gainer. 5 pounds. So I'm looking at this thing and I'm reading the Muscle magazine and it says that you can put on 10 to 15 pounds using this weight gainer. So I bought the 5-pound tub and I put on 4 pounds. Like, I couldn't even do that properly. My body just was not cooperating. But I kept at it. I kept my head down. I put the work in. I was doing my push-ups. I was doing my pull-ups and my little bicep curls. Then when school opened, I was feeling a little confident, right? Like, I had a little bump on my arm. You know, I was trying to rock a little tank top and stuff. And I was feeling confident. Then, it was probably the first week of school. Guyana's hot and we never had like nice locker rooms where you can change and stuff. So if you're changing off to go play basketball, play cricket or something, you just change. You just take off your shirt, your school shirt, and you put on a t-shirt and that's it. I never really did that because I was self-conscious. But, you know, because I was doing my push-ups and stuff, I figured, all right, let me let me give the big reveal. And so I took off my shirt to change because we were going to play basketball. It was a Friday afternoon. And within earshot, I heard a girl say, wow, some people should not take their shirts off in public. And yeah, that was directed at me. And I heard every word of it. And I heard some snickers. And that just crushed me. Crushed. But, you know, it is what it is. And I think I spent that weekend really looking at myself and recognizing that while I had made a little bit of progress, it really wasn't the dramatic transformation that I was hoping it would be. And while I was mad at the girl for making that comment, I had to admit that she was right. Like, I wasn't there yet. And if I'm being really honest, I also have to admit that I really wasn't putting my best effort forward. So I would read some magazines, try to do whatever exercises they recommended. But, you know, I didn't have any structure. I was just kind of figuring things out. So it wasn't like I was really, really locked in and committed to this goal. But from that point, I became even more determined. The very next week, I signed up for a gym membership. And I went with my friend Aniela. This was the gym that she went to. So we went there. And the very, very first time, you know, like in the movies when somebody walks into a sports arena and they realize like this is the thing they want to do, or they see somebody perform on stage and they see the actor and they just know like this is their calling. That was exactly what happened when I first picked up a weight and I went into a gym. And the funny thing is, it's not a fancy gym. This is like somebody's backyard gym with some old equipment. You can only work out when the sun is out because if it's raining, then everything gets wet. Even in a very simple gym, after that first workout, I knew that my life was going to change. I knew that this is something that I wanted to be a part of for the rest of my life. I just knew it. And obviously, this is just one workout. So it wasn't like I saw myself look different and that's what convinced me. It was the way my body felt. It was this buzzing. I've never felt it before. I felt really alive. I felt acutely aware of my entire body and it was buzzing. It was this happy, strong feeling. Now, later on, I learned that buzz, that happy feeling were actually endorphins that your body releases after exercise. But still, it was more than that. As I kept going to the gym, I noticed that my mind felt different. I started feeling happier. I felt calmer. I felt more self-assured. And the crazy thing is, obviously as an 18-year-old, you want people to like how you look. But I actually stopped caring about that so much because I just really enjoyed what it did for me. So I found my thing. Fitness became my thing. The other realization that I've made, which has still impacted the way I approach my life and I approach my career as a coach. The big realization was that as much as I changed physically, the true gift of fitness was the inner transformation that was quietly taking place. I was more confident. I was doing better in school. I was happier. And, as a hormonal teenager, I noticed that I wasn't as angry. And like any teenager, I looked at working out through a lens of vanity, right? Focusing on just how it would make me look. Until I realized that good health, being strong, feeling capable, confident, is the vehicle for a complete life transformation. Like fitness is a pathway to happiness. And as I've gotten older, I recognize that it's an antidote to suffering, because being healthy can rewire your body and change the way you view the world and change the way you accept the things that come into your life. And as we know from being alive for this long, that a lot of the things in our life that come our way are stressful things. So fitness is this way of building yourself up for life, preparing yourself for the challenges of life. So when you embrace this fitness lifestyle, you also realize that exercise is a microcosm of life. There's so many elements of exercise that carry over to your everyday life. For instance, a strong mind. Having a strong mind is required to achieve anything in life. And building a strong body requires a strong mind. It requires determination. It requires that you push past your comfort zone on a daily basis. So much so that what was uncomfortable becomes comfortable. Like if you're doing a leg press, you put on 100 pounds. The first time you do that, that feels really uncomfortable and you're struggling, but you keep doing that weight. And then soon after, you're able to add 10 pounds to that weight, add another 10 pounds to that 100 pounds. And then suddenly pushing 150 pounds feels like the way you did when you were pushing 100 pounds. But in the beginning, there was no way you could have pushed 150 pounds. So your tolerance for discomfort increases. And what was once uncomfortable now feels comfortable. So just like in the gym, where you have to push past your comfort zone, when you constantly push past your perceived limits during exercise, your mind begins to realize that you can also apply this to anything that you want to achieve. So your mind is rewired to believe that if you can push past the discomfort in one area of life, you can do it in any area of your life. And it was really these realizations that made me decide that I wanted to have a career in health and fitness. The physical goals, the vanity, got me in. But once I really committed to it, I realized that it was so much bigger than that. And fitness in many ways has transformed my life and has saved my life. And this is why I am such a passionate advocate for health and fitness. This is why I've spent more than 20 years giving and giving and giving any piece of advice, any information I come across, any knowledge that would help someone connect a piece of the puzzle that they're looking for, because it has literally influenced and transformed my life. So I'm a believer. And you'll notice in the fitness industry that there are two types of professionals. There are professionals like me who have been deeply impacted by fitness. And so we feel like we are pioneers, we are soldiers of the cause to really bring health and wellness into the lives of everyone we love. We really, really mean to make a difference. So there's that type of coach. And then there's the other type of coach who sees health, the fitness industry, as a money pit. And so you'll have coaches who come into the industry solely to make money. And as the outside observer, not knowing the difference between these two can cost you a lot of time and cost you a lot of money. And with all the tools and resources available, The ones who are in it to make money have become very clever at convincing you that they care. And the ones who do it because it's their calling, they have a tougher road because we're focused on integrity. We're focused on doing things the right way. We don't give in to the gimmicks. We don't give in to quick fixes. And unfortunately, that's what the public wants. So when you have somebody waving around a quick solution and it's all shiny, that's what you'll gravitate to. But ultimately, you're costing yourself more time because they're trying to sell you. They're trying to get money from you. So they're going to tell you what you want to hear so that they can collect from you. But the reality is, this fitness industry, health, wellness, this way of living, there is no quick fix. There is no pill. And as cliche as this statement is, it is a fact that you cannot argue against, which is, it is a lifestyle. Style of living. And a style of living means the things you do every day, the small things you do every day, will have the biggest impact on how you look, how you feel, and how you present yourself to the world, and how you go about your life to achieve the things you want to achieve. So, fast forward 23 years, and not only did I stick with the health and fitness, I made it my career. And it has been an amazing career. And I've led an amazing life. And I've been able to work with hundreds of people. And I've done everything that a fitness professional would want to do. I worked in multiple gyms. I worked in small gyms. I worked in big gyms. I did in-home training. I trained in condos. I was able to open my own gym. That's like one of the toughest things to do as a trainer, to be able to get your own space. And was able to do that for 8 years while still training, all the while making content about health and fitness, and then being able to mentor incoming trainers, work with schools that teach health and fitness promotion so that they can refine their curriculum to make sure that the program sets up graduating students for the best chance of success in the fitness industry, mentored other trainers, mentored coaches. So it's been amazing. And now I realize that I have to continue to evolve, because the deeper I get into health and fitness, the more I learn about it, the more it becomes clear that the full spectrum of health and wellness starts and ends with the mind. This is a mental game. How you look on the outside and how you feel physically is a direct reflection of what's happening inside of you. Your internal world, your internal chemistry, much like the roots of a tree that you never see, but are fundamental to the tree that we can see and to the fruit that it bears. Without those roots, there is no tree and there is no fruit. In fact, what happens first, if we stay on the analogy of the tree, before that bud can push through the dirt, a lot of stuff has to happen internally. The roots have to sprout. They have to be anchored to the soil. They have to absorb the nutrients from the soil. And they have to be doing that for an extended period of time before that shoot can push through the soil. Before the stems can grow, before the leaves, before the fruits, all the inner workings have to be in place first. And that is how you want to look at health and fitness from a mental perspective. Your mind, your internal dialogue, the way you feel about yourself, the way you feel about other people, the way you feel about your ability to accomplish things are the roots, are the foundation of what you will be able to manifest physically. But I want to leave you with this. There is no right way to start. If you've been thinking about getting into a healthier routine, you want to do better for yourself, you want to have better daily habits, there is no right way to start. The only right thing to do is to start. As imperfect as your start may be, when you start is when you get all the feedback. And if you start with the absolute worst thing, you're going to get so much useful information about what you did, why what you did was wrong, and you can immediately start correcting. So you don't know how you're doing until you start. So start. Start with very, very small habits, very small steps. Next episode, we're going to dive into the psychology behind starting and quitting. How many of us have a January 1st resolution? We go in with the best of intentions, but as the year goes on, our efforts dwindle, and by the end of the year, we're back to square one. So we're going to get into the psychology and discuss some ways you can break free of it. Thank you so much for tuning in. And if you listen to this first episode, you were a part of a lifelong dream for me to create something like this. And I appreciate you so much. And thank you for spending this time with me. And please send me your feedback about topics that you would like me to discuss and ways that I can make this podcast better. Always be a student of life. Keep learning. You got this.